Nestled along the north shore of Lake Huron is the sleepy little maritime community of Spanish, Ontario. Located smack in the middle of Ontario's premier smallmouth bass waters, Waterfalls Lodge is the gateway to a unique region of Lake Huron known as the Whaleback. A ribbon of islands separates the Whaleback from Lake Huron, creating a protected mecca for anglers who covet trophy-class smallmouth bass. On this week's episode of Fishing 411 TV, Mark teams up with longtime friend and smallmouth bass specialist Bryan Darland of J Sporting Goods. The timing is early September, and the bass are transitioning from their deeper water summer haunts to shallow rocky shoals. When the dust settles, our boys showcase a fishing destination that might be the best-kept secret in smallmouth fishing.
Wow, this is absolutely stellar.
What a gorgeous fish. We're gonna get a quick picture for Facebook, and then she's going back to do some spawning. Fish on. Fish on. First one of the day.
Bryan.
And a little green pumpkin magic action on that Z-Man turd.
I only got one quick glimpse of it when it was about 4 feet out of the water. What a nice stud there. Beautiful fish.
That's a good one.
That is,
Oh, that's what you come here for.
that's the object of our affections right there.
I'll let you snag a net on this one.
Oh, no kidding, no kidding.
Yeah.
Way to go, Bryan.
Look at that.
I love that. That is a gorgeous bronze back right there.
Oh, what a way to start the day. Wow, look at that. Look at that.
Sunshine
Just
on that fish
awesome.
is something else.
Just awesome. Man, oh man. Old Faithful. Wow, look at the colors on that fish. Just gorgeous. All right, we'll get it back. Well, just kicked it off here. Caught the first fish of the day using a 3-inch turd rig out here on these smallmouths. This little guy, you look at it, and the first time I saw this thing, I thought, what on earth are people doing? This is the simplest method I think I've ever seen, but man, does it catch fish. It's impressive. In this particular case, we've got a little 1/4 ounce head onto it. 1/5 actually, I believe is what it is. And the color that I picked out today there, that's got a green pumpkin with a little purple gold fleck. I believe they call it a goby magic maybe, or a green pumpkin magic, something of that nature. Anyway, it is phenomenal. That green pumpkin, hard to beat. Those are Old Faithfuls. They also make a lot of turd ones that are craw color, as well as little craw imitators. We'll probably play with some of those a little later on, but until then, I'm gonna catch another one.
You know, one of the things you can always count on with smallmouth bass is that they love structure. They are going to be on structure. So when you see places like where we're fishing here today, we're in a place called the Whaleback, where there's rocks sticking up out of the water everywhere, you are going to find good smallmouth numbers. And that's exactly what we're sitting down on here today. That's a nice fish. Let's bring him around here. Oh, come on up here, baby. Let me get a good look at you. Oh, I just can't control him. And that's why people love smallmouth. They fight so hard. What beautiful fish. It looks like he's been eating crayfish, huh? Look at all the pieces of crayfish in the water. Come on, Puppo. Come on up here one more time here. Whoa.
Just angry.
I'm sorry, Bryan. I'm doing my best here. I got this tackle pushed right to the limit, I'm telling you. Okay, I think we got him under control this time.
Oh,
look at that.
What a stud. Nice fish, Mark. Nice fish.
Oh, let me reach in there and put hands on this guy. Wow. Now we're talking. That is a gorgeous smallmouth. And as you can see, he literally kicked my butt. It was everything I could do just to control that fish and get him in the boat. Unbelievable. And now what we've started out here, of course, is when you're looking for fish, you got to be in a search mode, obviously, to find fish. So we're breaking up a couple of different presentations. Bryan caught his first fish on what's called a Ned rig, and I'm using a drop shot rig, but I'm using the same plastic that he's using on the Ned rig. And just a couple minutes in, look at that, 2 gorgeous smallmouth. This week's episode was filmed in a place called Waterfalls Lodge. It's near Spanish, Ontario. And if you're not familiar with Spanish, Ontario, it's in the heart of some of the best smallmouth bass fishing you'll find anywhere in Ontario. The lodge here has a variety of different fishing packages that they offer. For example, if you're staying at the lodge, there's boats right here and there's a chain of lakes that you can access right from the lodge. You can literally walk outside of your motel accommodations, step into a boat, and go fishing, literally in a matter of seconds. They also have what is called these remote destinations where they use an ATV to access lakes that are only accessible by ATV. And there's world-class fishing available there as well. We actually took a third option. We brought our own boat, a Starcraft STX 2050, and we launched at the municipal launch in Spanish, Ontario, and we went up and fished something called the whaleback. Now, what is the whaleback? The whaleback is part of Lake Huron, but it's a protected area behind a bunch of islands. It's absolutely gorgeous, world-class fishing, and you just won't believe the smallmouth we caught.
Special considerations are provided by Cisco Fishing Systems and Striker brands. Go early, go late, go prepared. Additional considerations provided by Fishhawk Electronics. Trolling without a fishhawk is called boating.
You know, for people that aren't familiar with this area, we're near Spanish, Ontario, and it's getting to be world renowned for catching smallmouth. And what makes this so beautiful here, I'm just going to throw that little guy back here real quick. What makes this area so beautiful is you look around and you see all of the rock formations that are coming out of the water. This area was glaciated, and that's where the name whaleback comes from. These rocks are all smooth because the glacier basically scoured them. And then, of course, eons of wave action have polished them as well. So you got all these smooth rocks dipping out of the water, these smooth rocks that are, you know, just coming to the water surface. And that's what gives its name, the whaleback. It ought to be called the smallmouth back because this place is just alive with smallmouth bass. If you love smallmouth, you won't find a prettier area to fish or a place with more fish.
Tried something a little different, put on a Texas rig, and I put a big TRD on. A decent fish.
Absolutely a decent fish. I'm just going to sit back here and watch you have some fun, Bryan.
Boy, he's a bulldog.
Definitely is. If you'd like me to net him, you'll have to take your feet out of the landing net.
Sure. You know, we were debating that.
I'm pretty handy with a landing net, but I'm not sure I could make it work with you standing in it.
Not with me in it?
No.
Well,
there you go. Nice job.
Marvelous.
Another beautiful smallmouth.
Look at that, just dragging that Texas rig right on the bottom across the rocks. Just always trying, whenever the bite seems to slow down, you always want to try to change your technique just a little bit to see if you can get him to do something a little bit different, get him to go on something just a smidge different. Here again, we're still sticking with green pumpkin here. The last one was green pumpkin goby is what the small TRD was. Went to a big TRD, which is a 4-inch version. Put on a tungsten bullet weight and just kind of dragging it across those rocks. This one seemed to like it, picked it right up, had a great time with him. Okay, on that Texas rig, put on a 1/0 EWG trocar hook with that big TRD 4-inch onto it. Super sharp hooks, fantastic. You can't beat the light wire either. It gets great penetration all the way through the jaw. That one went right through the side of the cheek, and it was really effortless in order to be able to stick that thing right in him.
Oh, that's a good one. A nice leaper.
Fish on. We got a double.
We got a double header, do we?
Oh yeah, I got a good one too, I think.
Wow. What an awesome experience we're having here at the whaleback. It is definitely going crazy for us. Woo, listen to that drag sing.
Yeah, these are a couple of good ones. Very
My
nice.
goodness. Try to keep this one hooked up here for you, Bryan.
I was gonna say we can just double
You're
them
gonna
up.
double. You're gonna double. Scoopy?
We're gonna double them up.
Scoopy, huh? 1 second here. I'll get him over. Whoa! Whoa. That's one of the downsides of light action tackle is that you don't have a lot of control over these fish. Thank you, good job. I was trying to bring him to you, but it just wasn't happening.
Look at that.
So, very cool. Brian,
Look at that.
That is a lot of fun, man. It is absolutely a lot of fun. Cool. Well, we're fishing in a transitional period, and we'll talk about it in just a second to fill in the details. But the thing about smallmouth is the game is constantly changing, and we'll explain exactly what that's all about here as soon as we unhook these and put them back in the water. Well, we talked a little bit about transitions as it relates to smallmouth, and it's September, and you can't come up here with the expectation the fish are all going to be deep or they're all going to be shallow, because some are going to be both places, because these fish are transitioning from their deeper summer water haunts to their shallower water fall haunts. And so as a result, you don't know exactly where they're going to be. So we've had to go at a double prong approach here. A drop shot rig is very effective for searching the deep waters, and that's where we've caught the majority of the fish, and the drop shot's been steady for us. But we've also caught some shallow water fish, and that's where the Ned rig is more effective, and that's where swim baits and casting swim baits are more effective. So you can't just make assumptions. You got to come up here, you got to fish shallow, you got to fish deep, and then let the fish tell you where you tend to be catching the majority of them. As the month progresses, we get later into September, my suggestion is they're probably going to be more shallow than deeper, but we're early in the month of September, and most of the fish are still in their summer patterns. They're still in 20, 25, and 30 feet of water.
Special considerations provided by Precision Trolling, the Troller's Bible. Special considerations provided by the Ultimate Sport Show Tour, Michigan's elite sport shows. Eagle Claw presents the 411 on fishing.
You know, Smallmouth offers two different versions of seats, two different suspension style seats, and they're both tremendously awesome seats, but we're going to go through both of them. And actually on both my dad's boat and my boat, we keep both styles of seat on the boat. Now on the driver's side, what we have here is called the Smallmouth Air, and that's an air assisted seat. It takes power, and basically you plug this into the boat, you plug in your power, and you can adjust the air pressure that's in the seat just by the touch of a button, just like that. If there's too much pressure, you pull it out and you can let air out of the seat. And so it makes it very easy, but one of the things is in a fishing boat, a lot of times you have power on the driver's side, but the passenger side you don't have power. So it's not as easy to put the air inside the seat. So what we do on the passenger side is we put the Smallmouth Ultra. It's a great seat. It's a spring assisted seat and it's very easy to adjust on the fly. And what I mean by that is there's an arm right here and it's basically righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. As I tighten it up, the spring gets tighter. As I loosen it, the spring gets looser. Now, depending on your weight, that's going to need to be adjusted. One of the things that I really like about the air is not very many people drive my boat. So I set the tension and the weight for me on my driver's seat, and I pretty much just forget it. I set it and forget it. But from day to day, that changes with my passenger that's on board. It's very easy with the Smallmouth Ultra to be able to change it just by simply tightening up that lever or loosening the lever. Both are great options and both are tremendous seats that we use every day here at Fishing 411. Really saves our back in that rough water.
There's a good average size here, a lot of 2-pounders. Every once in a while we get into a much bigger one. And I guess that's to be expected anywhere you go smallmouth fishing. You're going to have to sort through some of the younger year class fish, but we're catching all sizes, so that tells me that the fishery is very healthy. And see if I can alley-oop this guy here without doing any damage to my rig. Oh, that's as much as you can put on a, that's all the bass you can lift on a lightweight rig like this. Nice fish, nice fish. All right, back this guy goes, and then I want to talk about this TRD, or what folks just simply call the turd. I didn't name this, by the way, folks. So, but the bottom line is that it's made out of a special kind of plastic. It's called Elastec. Look at that. If you did that with any other type of soft plastic, you'd break it and tear it in half. And I can take that TRD and I can fish it for literally not just 1 or 2 fish, but dozens of fish without having to replace it. So it makes it much more efficient and cost effective. Typically when you're bass fishing, you go through handfuls of soft plastic that at the end of the day you're throwing away. Packages of soft plastic you're using up in a day. With these TRDs and this Elastec, you can go literally 1 package will last you for a fishing trip. That's amazing, absolutely amazing. Elastec by Z-Man Plastics.
What I'm doing here is I've got the drop shot rig out, and in this case, have a TRD right on the end of it, just one of the standard size. and letting the weight get all the way down to the bottom and just kind of shaking the rod tip, letting that bait work down there and kind of do its thing, trying to entice the fish, come up with a nice slow presentation. Right now we're casting out onto this rock pile. We have a little bit of a rock reef here, and there's a good drop off that goes down. Graph's showing 30 feet where we're sitting, so it's a pretty aggressive drop off. And we're hoping that these fish are just kind of staged right at that bottom, at that base, looking for an easy meal.
Hear that little drag sizzling a little bit there. I love to hear that little clicking on the drag. I got about as much pressure on this puppy as I can put on him. Got a little 7.5 foot medium light action Tatula rod here, and this guy is giving me a go for it. I'm going to swing around to the other side of the boat here, I think, because that seems to be the way he wants to go.
Need a hand with the net, Mark?
You might. This one might be a netter.
Let's get back there.
Oh my goodness! Look at the shoulders on this one. Ooh, baby.
Well, I got the boat on anchor, so let's get this fish in, and then we'll work them.
All right.
Oh, that's a good one. Good fish.
Thank you, Brian.
Good fish.
Thank you very much.
Nice job.
Let's you're a much better judge of measuring and weighing smallmouth than I am, but man, that is a very good looking fish right
That's
there.
a good quality
Get that out of the
fish.
way. I'm going to throw him on the tape here before I put him back, but holy smokes. They're getting bigger. I love it when they get bigger. I love smallmouth too. Good Lord. Just lip hook, just exactly the way you want to do it. If you're wondering what a drop shot rig is, it is so simple. A lead weight on the bottom, a drop shot style hook. This happens to be a trocar, it's a number 2, and you just Palomar it right to your leader, and then all I have on there is the TRD. It's very popular with Ned rigs, but it also works very well here as a drop shot plastic as well. Let's put that back in the water.
Special considerations are provided by Trailmaster Trailers and Daiwa Corporation. Special considerations are provided by Procure, ruthlessly effective bait scents.
We are having some fun today. Whoa! Let's swing him back on the backside of the boat here. Keep him out away from this motor if I can. You can certainly understand why people get so fired up about smallmouth. They are aggressive, hard fighting, and a very good looking fish as well. Let's be honest. That is a gorgeous fish. Let's see if I can get him here. Brian, I might have been a little slow on the hook set on this one. He's got that hooker right down there.
I got one.
What do we got?
There he is.
Brian's hooked up.
Hooked up. Wow, that was pretty interesting. My lead weight was hung up on the bottom. I could feel it down in the crack. And then all of a sudden I feel the shaking, and I think the fish actually pulled the lead weight off the bottom. Oh, funny.
Brian, you gonna need a net?
Oh, I think I'll hurry up and grab it. Just pick that fish right up, bring him right in. Hooked right in the corner of the mouth where he's supposed to be.
God, they're clean looking fish too, aren't they, Brian?
Absolutely.
It's really healthy.
Very healthy. These fish have been eating good.
And they're very, very healthy fish.
Pretty, pretty fish. God, I love the colors on those things. There you go. Get back at it.
Well, one of the reasons why drop shot rigs are so popular is because they're so super simple. Of course, I've got braid as a main line. I got 10-pound braid on here, and then I tied a 10 or a 12-pound test fluorocarbon leader. And the fluorocarbon leader is about 3.5 foot long. Then all I did near the bottom here of my leader is I just used a Palomar knot to tie a drop shot hook on. This happens to be a number 2. And I left myself a little tag here about 10, 12 inches, and then the weight is on the bottom. So all I need to do now is just take whatever plastic it is that I want to use. And in this case, it's a TRD. And I'm going to take it and just thread it on the very end so it sticks straight out. That's all there is to it. Now, that is very basic, very simple, and when that sinker hits the bottom, not doing anything special, not necessarily shaking the rod or doing anything, we're just kind of moving it along the bottom. Tunk, those fish bite it, and they're on it. So, so far so good. That rig is working extremely well.
Do it?
Definitely got a little head shaking to it, so.
Oh, that's a good one. Good fish.
Holy smokes. They're getting bigger.
That's a good one.
That is,
Oh, that's what we come here for. There he is. Little guy. Give me some acrobatics. He's just gonna bulldog. Look at him go. Wow, it's bulldogging. Yeah, this might be a good fish. Yeah, I'll take a little net help on this one, Mark. Jerk shad Z.
They definitely like that all of a sudden.
They are.
That's a good thing.
Feels like a good fish.
Oh, yes.
That's a pretty good one. Yeah.
Nice. Brian, what an awesome smallmouth,
That's a
man.
great fish right there.
Hey, I can't thank you enough for joining us up here at the Whaleback. If you get a chance to come up to Algoma country, fish the north shore of Lake Huron, you're going to find an area called the Whaleback that's just alive with smallmouth like this one. Hey, my name is Mark Romanack. You've been watching Fishing 4-on-1. See you here same time, same place next week.
Closed captioning is provided by Lakeside Motorsports, Michigan's premier marine and power sports company. Fishing 411 is brought to you by Offshore Tackle, Ontario, Canada, Starcraft Marine, Yakima Bait Company, Smooth Moves, Niagara Falls, USA, Lowrance Electronics, Evinrude Outboards, and by Jay's Sporting Goods.
Ha. Yeah. See, this is the reason why you drive up here. Let me get the net. Oh, we just pulled off.
Oh,
That's
I
all
was
right.
just about to come and help you on that.
You know, the beauty about these fish, they're just so aggressive out here.